What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Toy Talk. That's right, it's Monday coming at you. Monday hit me in the face today. I hope it didn't hit any of you in the face, but welcome to another episode of Toy Talk. It is Monday, November 7th. Can you believe it's November already? My goodness. Well, I'm one of your hosts. My name is Toy Father. With me, as always, I got Cox Create. Josh, how you doing, buddy?
Good.
What are you playing with over there?
Storm Shadow.
Josh just opened up all of his Joes. Not all of them. Most of his Joes on Unboxing Art, State
Not
of the
all
Art.
of them.
Go check out that episode on Unboxing Art's YouTube page. Are you enjoying them?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, I got Danny, Toy Addict. Oh, hold on, buddy. You're on mute. Sorry.
Hi.
Oh, hi. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing well.
Do you want to show everyone what you were hanging out with, playing out with? Look at that.
It's a 1978 Myers mask from Darko Customs. I got it made. Well, he already had one, so I purchased one from him because I wanted an original. So it looks really, really good.
It looks rad. It looks like it's part of the figure.
Yeah, and I used this part two. Remember the part two Myers I'd opened that I told you guys I was gonna get it. I was gonna get a custom head for it. This is the body. So it looks really good. I'm really happy with it.
It does look good.
It looks great. That photo you took with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can't get better, man. Can't get better.
I was in a bit of a hibernation after Halloween, so I haven't taken a shot in like 6 days. So that was like my comeback shot.
You've been hiding in a sewer.
Yeah, I was hibernating in a sewer like Myers was.
Yeah, that was an incredible shot. I didn't get to see it till after work, and I was like, "Wow, this is great."
Thank you.
You really nailed that lighting. You did.
Thank you.
And we got no chewing. How's it going, bud?
All good.
Yeah, all good. Do you have a toy that you were playing with over there?
I actually got this in the mail. I got the new
nice.
Oh,
Black
nice.
Panther.
Awesome.
Oh, I want
She
that
looks
back.
great. Yeah, that one looks good.
So I'll be opening that on, behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes?
Yeah.
Under the camera. Under the frame.
Under the frame.
Under the frame. Well, I really can't wait for today, guys. We're super excited, and I just want to shout out to Josh. He found someone to get me. I would call this a Grail. Like, this is my Grail figure. A Mafex, Cavill, Superman, Justice League. It's the better of the two that they made. I really
Is that wired cape?
Yeah, wired cape. The only gripe is the wire is only on the outside, like just here. There's nothing like in the middle. But man, it looks great. I cannot wait for it. I also can't wait for the black suit one, which will come out soon, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So did I get you a good deal? Or I don't know what those are going for.
It's going for about 200, 250.
Okay.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Is that new or used?
I think it was.
No, I'm asking.
I don't even know.
It was the 200. Is the 200 new or used?
New. New. Some used go up to like. Some new used go up to 200 too. It's kind of. I've been looking for a very long time, even before Cavill was reintroduced as Superman. So
nice.
They haven't made many. So
you're gonna have to get a custom head sculpt with the small hair curl.
or I'll just get the new figure.
Whatever, you can do whatever you want. Whatever you want. It's the same exact costume, but sure.
How do you know? It might be a little different.
I saw the one appearance in the picture.
True. But when the new movie comes out, I'm sure it'll be a new costume. All right. Well, we're starting off the week. It's Monday, but it's okay because we're here. We're going to talk toys. We are going to set this tone in a positive manner. We're going to keep going forward, and we're going to have some fun tonight. So just some reminders. If you are not a subscriber, just click subscribe. That's all I ask. That's all we ask. Just one little button. Just click that, and would be greatly appreciated. And smash that like button if you'd like. Hopefully, you like this. Please remember to follow us on Toy.talk for you on Instagram, and then all of us respectively, however you see our names displayed, also on Instagram. And we do have one plug, and I know No Chewing wanted us to talk about this beforehand. The holiday season's coming up, right? No Chewing.
Yeah, exactly. We just want to do a reminder each week on the show. It's that time of year, lots of sales, lots of purchases, lots of holidays. And, as you're on these big toy hunts, as you're seeing these big sales, clearances, to consider Toys for Tots. It's an organization I remember as a kid and donating to at a Toys R Us, and like buying the physical toy there, put it in the big blue box on the way out. And it was part of my holiday kind of tradition for many years until Toys R Us closed. And I think I fell off for a couple of years. But this year, I gathered up some extra gifts that I had for my kids that I ended up giving to them that they certainly don't need, and I plan on hitting Target over the next couple of weeks to load up for Toys for Tots. It's a good charity, a good organization, and the spirit behind it. We're all toy collectors. We can purchase however many toys that we want, whenever, basically. It feels like it, but to some, they're not as fortunate, and especially if it's a kid. And if you think about toys, it's really about kids. Sometimes the only toys they get is through this program. So
Yeah.
just want people to consider that as they're doing their purchases this year. If you're looking for a drop location, Toys for Tots, USA.org. You can go onto that website. You can find a drop location. There's a lot of, there's a location in most cities. Not mine particularly. I'll have to go to the next city over, but that's the end of my plug.
No, definitely. I mean, it's really good. It is the holiday season. We're really looking into just thinking about others. And as you were saying, we are in a hobby where we buy for ourselves, right? Pretty much nonstop all year for most of us. So it's really a good time to start thinking about others. And like you said, there are people definitely always less fortunate than us that don't have the means to be able to purchase the fun toys or any good toys. So even if it's on sale, or even if you're feeling generous, like buy whatever you think would be great. And the Toy for Tots locations, they're pretty much everywhere. So you just go onto that website and check it out. I did put the link into our bio for this video today, so check that out. We will be plugging this. We might be doing something ourselves too, so we haven't decided yet, but it's a good way to do it. All right, let's go to the chat. The chat is bumping right now. We got Collector425. Hey, how you doing, buddy? Grown Ass Men. Check them out. Grown Ass Men Toys. They're awesome. Annette Brumlick. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining us. Unworthy. How you doing, buddy? Hopefully it's not too quiet anymore. Divine Syrup. How you doing? Great. Thanks for joining us. I guess they must have started the chat before we started the video. We got Unboxing Art. How you doing, buddy? Check out Unboxing Art's YouTube page. He's awesome. State of the Art. Last episode we had Cox Create, and he opened an absurd amount of GI Joes. Josh needs to go horizontal.
Josh has a really sick Hulk going over there.
And that's a Diamond Select, correct?
Hulk versus Storm Shadow.
That's a Diamond Select Planet Hulk, correct?
Yep.
Lady Panther, yeah. And we got the man, the myth, the legend, D. Blake Makes. How's it going, buddy? Thanks for joining us, man. This guy must be tired because he was working all weekend.
I caught a stream on a Saturday night. He had a stream, and he was painting product in his hotel room for the next day. It was incredible effort by D. Blake to have product out for the fans.
That guy was working hard up until and then throughout the entire con. I want to know what Unboxing Art got this weekend. He was kind of quiet on that. Who was your source? I want to know what you got.
I know he was looking for the Furious Four, so I wonder who. I mean, there's so many people that attended. It's gone.
Yeah, there were a lot of people. To the tune of $1,300. Oh man,
Good weekend, D Blake.
it was good. All right. So he said that he's going to recoup that because 80% was that he bought for others. That's good. D Blake always donates Toy for Tots. So does Mike Hex. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, Mike?
Yimbo, how's it going, buddy? Check out Yimbo, reviews everything.
Yimbo.
His show's on.
Look, we can do collab.
Yeah. Yimbo showed that off last night in his stream. Check it out. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, he had an excellent, plug last week's show of Yimbo interviews everyone. He had a great interview with Sir Dork.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did. That was a really good one. Salvation Army Angels for 2 or 3 families. Oh, that's a really good one. Wow. Yimbo, we're doing toy drive at our school through Seasons of Hope. I already have a doll host to donate. There you go. That's awesome.
I also do a pajama thing with Foster Forward down in Rhode Island as well.
Foster Forward. Yimbo says he just opened that one too. All right. We got a lot. Oh, we got Green Geek. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, Zach?
Check out Lazy Boys. Check out Pick Bar. And, keep chatting with us. We got an amazing guest, and I want awesome participation from all of you. If you think of any awesome questions while we talk to this person, that'd be great. Realm just joined us. Frank, Realm of Toys. How you doing, buddy? So let me do my intro first, and then we'll get into it. So today, we're gonna talk to Fox Forge Toys, and they do a toy line called Star Dusk. Now, let me tell you, about a month ago, sorry, Josh, but Danny, No Chewing, Toy Addict, and I, we all went to New Jersey Toy Con. We met up for the first time in person.
Mm-hmm.
One of the booths that we hung out at was Fox Forge Toys. Now, it was booth by 2 guys, Joe and James, and their respective significant others. I assume they're their significant others. They were just hustling, selling figures. And when I came across them, I thought, wow, this is so cool. We got 2 guys who I assume are best friends. They decided to make their own toy. And for me, I was like, yeah, I'll buy your toy. Okay. And I felt like I was just supporting them. And I was like, this is great. Let's do it. So I bought that toy. And that night I opened it up with No Chewing and Yimbo. And I will tell you, I was so impressed by the articulation and the design of the figure that I went back with No Chewing the next day and I bought 3 more of all. And I should have bought all of them, but I didn't.
You were so close. You should have bought all of them.
I should have bought them, but the limited edition I kept. So it was too close to the red one. So, so I realized I loved the articulation and I needed more. I definitely needed the Bounty Hunter inspired paint job. So we went back and then we interviewed these guys, No Chewing and I, and we had a great time. What I really enjoyed and found out about them was that they loved this product so much that they have so much planned and so much developed in terms of what they want. Whether their story, Wave 2 is in development right now. So I've talked about them, or I talked about them enough. Let me just introduce you to one of the 2 Fox Forge guys, Joe from Fox Forge Stars. How's it going, buddy?
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
What's up,
Thanks
Joe?
for joining us.
Of course. Love talking about toys.
Well, so do we. And I'm telling you, we were talking before. I love this little shed. Do you want to just talk about this little shed that you have right in back of you?
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of just threw it together as a little pandemic project. I made a quasi office space in our garage that we have, and so I have all random stuff that I'm able to just throw up there. But it's also I have a big long desk in here, so I'm able to like do painting, and I get I get all my stuff done here. So this is kind of like my man cave / workspace situation.
That's yeah, it looks cool. It looks really cool. I think all of us created some sort of space if we could during the pandemic to put up our toys, to feel like we could at least escape somewhere, right? In our house, which we weren't allowed to escape.
Really, definitely.
So I do like to start with a discussion question to kind of break the ice before we kind of get into the interview, Joe. I guess this isn't necessarily much of a discussion question, other than Legion Con was this past weekend. Many of us were following it. Now, Joe, were you at Legion Con?
No, we weren't actually. We were going to, but James he decided that he wanted to get married. So well, I was one of his groomsmen. I was at his wedding, and so that's also why he's not here. So we missed this year, but we'll be next year. We're very, very happy.
Well, congrats to him.
Yeah, congrats to him. That's awesome.
Congrats to him. That's awesome.
Yeah, but from what we saw, it was something else.
Yeah, it was definitely crazy. The lines were crazy, and the exclusives were crazy. And it was just a lot of people. It was truly a con, I guess.
Awesome.
Well, that kind of throws me off because I thought you were at it. So why don't we?
Well, the exclusive, the Bounty Hunter exclusive was present there, so there was a presence of Star Dusk.
Did you know it was there?
Yeah, we knew that it was going to make an appearance there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, good. So that's where I was wondering why people were getting them. So
is that the black one? Is that the black version figure?
It was this one.
Okay, so that's the one I saw. Okay.
Yeah.
That's...
All right, pivot. Here's our discussion question for the day. Here it is. Who wins in a fight? And I think I've asked Josh this, I think, but I haven't asked many of these other guys this. So we'll start with Josh with this. JCVD or Steven Seagal?
Van Damme.
Van Damme wins.
Well, when are we talking?
Prime.
Did Seagal have a prime?
Seagal.
Yeah, I think Seagal and his prime could have taken Van Damme. But I don't know. Anymore, any of us could beat the shit out of Seagal now.
I mean, I'm there because when you ask that question, I want to see that fight today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jean-Claude versus today's Seagal, and I just want to watch that on YouTube for a few hours.
Sluggish.
It would last a few hours, yes.
Just a flying kick, and Seagal goes, ooh.
Okay, we're okay. Prime and then now. So prime, you say Seagal. Now you say Van Damme. Okay. Danny.
Van Damme, prime, and now. Van Damme will kick his ass.
Okay.
I think Seagal's full of shit.
Okay.
I mean, Van Damme is not really. I mean, he's not, but I just think I don't know. And he has better movies. I like Van Damme movies more.
Yeah, I don't think either one of them are actually martial artists.
No. Well,
I mean,
here's what it is, and I wanted to like tell you guys all this, but Steven Seagal is legit. He has his black belt. I don't know what he does, but I will tell you when I watch a lot of UFC. Anderson, the Spider Silva, top of his game, was pound for pound the best fighter in the UFC like a decade ago. Mm-hmm. Incredible fighter. He came off one of the nastiest knockouts where he did a front kick to I forget who it was, to someone in the first round. It had to have been like 20 seconds into the round. Front kick, knocked him out.
What was his name? Oh my goodness, I have him.
He was a Brazilian. He was
Yeah,
a
I know
Brazilian.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
It'll come back to me.
he'll come back to.
Yeah.
After that fight, he goes to his corner, bows to everyone. The last person he bows to and thanks for teaching him that kick, Steven Seagal. I swear. And I sat there in astonishment, thinking, what?
This is hard.
What did he do? Just like write down the instructions on how to do the kick?
No, he is legit like fighter. Steven Seagal is legit.
No, but even if you look at like in his prime, though, his kicks were like they don't get up there very high.
You know what? Screw both of them. Let's add Chuck Norris, and that's a done deal. Chuck Norris will kick both their ass.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm way
give
more
you that.
interested in this
I'll
fight.
give you
Yeah, I'm
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris at his age now is still
prime and back then. Prime even quicker.
So no chewings is Chuck Norris. Joe, what do you say?
I mean, if we're adding Chuck Norris, I met the guy, and yeah, definitely.
Did you really?
But yeah, because I'm a martial artist too. I actually just taught a 7 o'clock class. I teach at Tiger Schulman's karate.
Nice.
And so I met him like 10 years ago, Chuck Norris, and dude's badass.
That's crazy.
But if you're doing Jean-Claude, prime and now. I don't know if Seagal ever had a prime. Dude was sluggish.
Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm. If we're going movies or people like Van Damme, I would probably just vote over Seagal. But I don't know. I think Seagal would really do some damage to
Seagal. I think Seagal is out of shape though. Like if you look at Van Damme
now,
right
he
now,
is. Yeah.
I mean, but even back then, like compared to back then, Van Damme still would have probably kicked his ass. And maybe I don't know. I'm going with Van Damme on this one.
You know, Van Damme was always more athletic.
Yeah, I'm going with Van Damme.
Chris, can you put a poll in the chat to see what people?
Yeah, well,
that thing?
I don't know if I can do it.
Anybody says Van Damme, I'm gonna follow you right now.
So D Blake says 90 Seagal. Seagal is a 7th Dan Aikido master, I guess. What's the Van Damme is a 2nd Dan karate. You underestimate Seagal. You do. I agree. And then Unworthy Collector, he says that Jason Frank beats them all.
No. I agree. Jason Frank?
I mean,
Seagal was the only white person that was allowed to teach Aikido.
Mm.
I know. I'm telling you.
Wow. Okay.
Anderson the Spider Silva, the nastiest fighter, pound for pound.
Yeah, the same
bowed
guy
in front of him.
Paul.
Bowed in front of him.
He just got beat by Jake Paul, right? Yeah. Okay, good.
Did he?
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
That was
Silva did?
I feel like it.
Yeah,
honestly, I have my opinions. Listen, Anderson Silva
boxing?
is one of the greatest. Yeah.
Yeah, boxing.
Oh man,
that
makes me sad.
It makes me very sad.
Mike X, Screw Martial Arts. What's their lightsaber style? Lightsaber whoosh sounds.
Whoosh.
All right. Well, thanks for the change in topics, but it isn't I always, every time you ask that, people get really defensive about it. Like I've asked that question several times.
Really? Like you're at work and you're like,
not a Toy Talk.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, go, and everybody's like, oh, screw that. They're going at each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
Really?
At least the meatheads that I hang out with. Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Joe from Fox Sports Choice. Why don't you just we want to get into your origin story. We build a show that talks about the toy community, whether you're a toy photographer, whether you build dioramas, whether you just collect toys, but toys are central. Toys are what brings us all together. Tell us about your origin story into toys.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, I guess like James and myself, we we both just kind of grew up surrounded by toys. I mean, some of my best memories were tagged, with a physical toy that I got from somebody, whether it was a trip, McDonald's. I still have a bin of McDonald's Happy Meal toys that I collect to this day. It's just one of those things that it started young, and some people get involved in certain things, hobbies, sports, whatever. Toys was my thing. Always had something in my pocket, and so James and I met in college. We were roommates, and we both kind of were in the same boat. We thought, that we wanted to, we collected toys. We would go to like Toys R Us all the time, and spend needless, money that we should have probably put towards food and surviving. But we always got something, and so we were like, one day we should make our own. We should do something, and we kind of had that idea, and I guess post college, he went to work at Toys R Us headquarters, and so he stayed in the industry. But I kind of went, and I'm a teacher, and so now I do instructional work. And it was just one of those things that 2018 rolled around. He had the idea. He came to me, and it just exploded, and it was just nonstop ever since.
That's crazy. Well, before we get into the origin of Fox Forge, like, what did you collect? What were the things that you were really into?
Oh man, Star Wars was and is my bread and butter. I mean, that, Power of the Force with the chunky, clunky, ripped Lando bodies. That was like, I thought that was the coolest thing in the world, because, I remember vividly going to Caldors.
Caldors.
For people who don't know Caldors, that was like Walmart before it became Walmart. It was like, you had a rocking horse outside that you could put 25 cents in and ride, and you go inside and you just unleash. And I remember many times coming out with, Power of the Force figures, and, the Millennium Falcon and the vehicles. And that was, so that was what started it, I think, was Star Wars, definitely. And then it just ballooned out, you can see behind me. That's everything that I collect currently. It's a lot.
Yeah. What are some like new lines that you collect right now?
Well, I recently got into Mythic Legions, and that's dangerous.
Yeah.
They're guys that we've seen, for years and years and years, going to the shows and now being able to work alongside them. So recently, I stayed off because I wasn't like in that fantasy realm per se with collecting. So I was like, those are cool. Those are like, really awesome sculpts and whatnot. Never got into it. But then the second they did this Figura Obscura line with like Krampus and the Horsemen, that was it for me. That was what got me in. So right now, currently, Legions, that's the big one I got. Yeah.
Legions. Yeah, I think all of us can kind of relate. Josh is really trying hard to stay away.
Josh has a couple. He has a couple good ones.
Yeah. Just sorry to go back to that thing. Silva is a huge toy collector.
I saw that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He does go to a toy store in California that I know, that I've seen him at. Anyway, back to Fox Forge. So you kind of like brushed into the origin of Fox Forge. So in 2018, you guys decided that you had an idea, or you're like, let's make a toy, or why don't you walk us through that? Because many of us always say, hey, if we had a toy, we would do this, or we would do X. Like if we were Hasbro, we would do this, and like not knowing what it does, like how to do it, what it takes to go from paper to actual final product. So walk us through that. We really want to know. I know all of us want to know. In the chat, if you have any questions for Joe, please, write them in.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably to date the most frequent question that I get from people, people that are interested in their own line, or like they kind of had, some ideas. They just kind of want more info about it. I mean, we, like I said, James and I, we both are Star Wars guys, and we read the comics and Dark Horse and all those things. So like, 2018, I'm teaching. I just started teaching, and I'm kind of in the zone at that point. And I'm an artist, so sketching and all that kind of fell by the wayside for me. And James came to me, and he was like, "I have this idea for one character," and he showed me Dost, which is, if you know the aliens that we have, that's the green guy with the ears, and it's actually, yeah. So it was this guy. And he came to me with a rough sketch of it, and he had the name, and so we kind of just bounced back and forth. Yep. And I think that was, I can pinpoint the exact moment where like my pencil hit paper again, and the creativity just started flowing, and I was like, oh man, yeah, this is awesome. But we need some more characters. Like let's keep going here. And
so when you meant pencil meets paper, you were drawing the figure, or
we were yeah. So I was, after DOS, I would do the sketches initially, and then James and I would collaborate, make edits, go back and forth, and then we were working with a sculptor to eventually turn them into the 3D files. So that's kind of how it started.
After DOS, who was up?
The next guy, the first guy that I started with was Razak, the one with the horns. Yeah, that was Razak, and then in order after that, it went to Commander Alder, and then Zurg, which was the big guy, and then Xeno. And that was the core. That was the Star Dusk Cobalt squad that we started out with.
Xeno looks dope.
Yeah, he was probably the most intensive one to design, because in the story, he's one of the biggest points of the plot, moving forward. So we really wanted to like spend time and like really get that down. That's kind of how it started. Like we were like on the weekends, like I would be, doing, progress reports and grading and stuff. And then, weeknights I'd get home, I teach, martial arts class, train, get to his house at like 8, 9 o'clock. We'd like work until like 11 or midnight. I wasn't married at the time, so like I was able to just kind of put all of my time into this. And I mean all of my time, like legit, like everything, we poured our hearts into just going back and forth, endless nights. And that's kind of, 2018, we started with the 5, and then we got to the soldiers, the legionnaires, and then that's when we were like, really start to get the ball rolling with the story.
Got it. So you did all your sketches, and you had your characters. Interesting that many of the characters were not in the way. Only Commander Alder, really, were in Wave 1, and then Wave 2 will be all the other first characters that you thought of, right?
Yeah, the aliens. Yeah,
the aliens. In terms of like going from the sketches, then you went, and at the same time you were working with the sculptors. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So that the sculptors came after. First, we like went kind of hand in hand. I would, we would do the sketches, the both of us finalize them, send it to the artist that we were working with. They would, make up the files. And then at some point, we kind of just sat back and we had all of these 3D files that, to that point, neither of us had, we had like a basic understanding of 3D printing and STLs and all that. So we actually paid for the service to have them, professionally, prototyped and 3D printed at like the lowest layer possible. And, that's kind of where it starts. So it was sketching, finalize the sketches, send it to the sculptor, and then they would send us the files that we would have.
How do you find a sculptor? Do you just like?
I mean, it was kind of like, just, because like I said, we really didn't know much. James, coming from the toy industry background, he had more of an understanding than I did. I came originally from sales, so I have 7+ years. Before I was a teacher, I was a front-end manager at a retail store. And then I did a lot of work online. So, in terms of looking for, the sculptors and the artists to work with, it was just putting out feelers and kind of seeing, comparing the work and seeing who was available and what they could do, and kind of just one at a time. It was the same way we found the factory that we work with today. It was just putting out feelers and seeing who we thought was the best fit, honestly.
I mean, now you just opened up a bunch of words by just mentioning like that you work with a factory. Like all of this seems so much and so overwhelming, but just like, well, that's what I really am impressed. It was just the two of you from 9 to midnight, burning the midnight oil and really trying to really work, right? And I guess that's the whole point, is just that you just really need to grind and work to really achieve whatever your dream might be, right?
Yeah, I never really felt. I think that was the difference. Was like we'd get home from work, and most days you'd be exhausted, but then we would meet up and get together and start doing this stuff, and it was like picking up right where we left off. I didn't feel like work at all. It felt like you were just starting something, and it's like anything. You got to start somewhere, and so that's kind of the mentality we had was. We just got to keep our noses down and grind, and can't stop, can't let anything slow it down. And we hit some delays here and there, but for the most part it was kind of just we kept going because it didn't feel like work. It felt like we were just having fun, and that was what it was. It was fun.
Yeah. Now hold on, let me Realm of Toys asks, you ever think about making vehicles?
Frank, yeah, definitely. So, I won't say much, but yeah, we definitely have some stuff in the pipelines, vehicles and other things that
You
are
gonna make a
compatible with
Dodge Charger? Space Dodge Charger? You want to hop in that realm?
a space Charger. Can I legally call that a slave too? Can that be a slave too for the exclusive?
I mean, I don't think there's a trademark on a second one.
I don't think so.
Just do TOO and you're
Yeah, no, definitely have some of that stuff, some big stuff in the pipelines beyond wave 2, for sure.
Awesome. Mike Hicks, you're given one of the mainstream properties you work with. What do you have, and what would you change?
Ooh,
I like that.
Nice question.
Mainstream properties. All right, so I mean, I guess like licenses, like Star Wars, that kind of thing. I mean, I would love to absolutely get my hands on Star Wars, but if you're talking about changing things, I think one of the things that we kind of we take into account for our figures, at least, is articulation, but not just the articulation, like the breaks, the seams, how it looks, but also the functionality of it. So like certain Black Series, because that's I guess what we're talking about here, because 6-inch line. But I collect mostly 3 3/4. But for the sake of it, I'll talk Black Series. One of the things that I would change about Black Series is the articulation. Just a lot of times, I feel like it's not well thought out for certain characters, and I'm a stickler for like how it looks when it's posed on the shelf. And if I bend a character's knee and now their knee armor has to be rotated 45 degrees and it's off, and it breaks it up, to me, it might seem minor, but it annoys me so bad. And so that's one of the things that I would probably take more into account is like the articulation, because that's something that we really took into account when we made Star Dusk, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
you
would
can
ag-
definitely see the influence on this. Sorry, go ahead. No, Chewy?
No, I was just gonna say that's one of the things that Chris, me and Yimbo discussed when we first opened it up the figures. The first day of ToyCon was we were surprised at how well the articulation was on these figures, and even to that knock on Star Wars. Yeah, I'm looking at all those Boba Fett figures from the past year, and there's could have been a few more rounds of thought, and even for
Yeah.
modern articulation, that they haven't updated anything. There's not, at the elbow, it's still that single point, and it's just
Yeah.
couldn't you just do a little bit more, and especially for like Jedi's.
It's a minor critique for sure, but I mean that's something that jumps out at me is how it looks posed on the shelf. And if I have a character that can't do his own signature pose or her own signature pose without some sort of manipulation, then that takes it away from me, honestly. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I got out of Black Series was retail space, and it's just a lot of the characters that I wanted weren't made right. So it kind of
Well, you also said you mainly collect 3 3/4. They do a
yeah.
far better job for vintage collection.
Oh my god, the last 3 Boba Fett's that I have on card, like the Morak Target exclusive and the deluxe pack, those look miles better posed on a shelf than all of my Black Series.
You get soft goods, you get better articulation, you get better
Yeah.
paint apps. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's $17 for a 3 3/4, but at that point, like I would prefer paying that versus $25 for a figure that I can't properly pose. That's me.
Yeah.
So one thing that I really appreciated, and when I was at the New Jersey Toy Con, what I saw were some very successful tables. When I'm talking about just toy tables, Mythic, your table, in Plunderlings. One of the pieces that I really thought was really important that I saw was the passion behind the lore, of the characters. For Mythic Legions, no idea what the lore is, but there's a deep lore there, and
Yeah.
I'm intended to learn more about it. But what I really appreciate about you was the passion behind your product and the story behind each of the characters, and you knew everything that was going on. So why don't you talk to us more about that lore? Because I think that's the really interesting part when you start to sell these figures.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you say that we know so much about the characters, and the reason is because we lived with every minute detail of these characters for the better part of going on 4 years. And during the pandemic, when everything was shut down, and I was holed up in here, and James was holed up in his house, and all we had was just the lore. The factories were shut down, everything was shut down. So all we had was producing our 3D prints and writing the story. And in terms of that, my wife is actually our creative head with we talked about it at ToyCon. She's the one that, because she's a writer, and so she's the one that helped like storyboard the initial Ashcan, the comic series that we have coming out. So it's like the preview, and then building out the story arcs for the volumes of comics that we're going to have coming out. And with each character, it started one at a time, and then once we got the core 5, we thought, okay, how are we going to connect them together? And we just kind of sat down, all 4 of us that are involved, and we thought about a story that has been told before, but in a different way. I think in terms of sci-fi characters, there's only so much you can touch. you know, a lot of it has been done already and done better, you know, by better people. So we wanted to bring some humanity to it and some psychological stuff to it. So the story that I think we've crafted, honestly, is it gives me chills when I read the storyboard like scripts for each volume that's going to come out, because it's just it's awesome to see how the characters play out and how the story of, you know, mankind is told in, you know, generations past. Like the story takes place in the year 3700, so there's a lot of time in between now to that time. And you know, the way it goes about is it's something else. It's awesome.
So in terms of, you got a comic book coming out, will that come out before Wave 2 or in tandem with Wave 2?
So we're thinking about releasing the Ashcan, which is, you know, in comic terms, that's like the preview. So it's like 6 pages, and it's going to have like Easter eggs in it to kind of lead into, you know, Volume 1. But Volume 1, we're trying to get out next year. So the large volume, which will be like around 30 pages, 35 pages, going to be a solid read, will be out probably, you know, around the time Wave 2 will tentatively be in stock. So we're just trying to figure out like the logistics behind it. But definitely getting the Ashcan out soon.
And so did you got like an artist, or is one of you the artists, or?
Yeah, we work with a couple great artists. The one that does the inking and the illustrating, Isaiah Bradley, he's awesome. You know, I think, you know, when we were going with the comic series, we wanted to kind of find an artist that could translate the toyetic features of the characters well. So that's something that was different about it too. Like we were thinking not just like how do we get these characters onto paper? We wanted to figure out how to get these toys onto paper and like translate them in their toyeticness, you know, and not just have them look like random you know, sci-fi guys in a comic book. Like we really want them to look like over the top, you know, great expressions, a lot of action, pops of color. And so he was able to really translate that well, I think, with these pages.
Did you say his name was Isaiah Bradley? That's also the name of like the very first Captain America, who was like.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
not the very first.
The
Sorry,
same guy.
the first
Isaiah. Yeah. Yeah, shout out to Isaiah. He's awesome. He does great work.
Awesome. Well, that's really exciting. I think what I really appreciate, if you all go to, let me just go back to it, Fox Forge Toys, and check out their website. What's really neat is you can check out the Star Dusk character bios here, and each of them, first of all, really amazing art. Did you do this art, or was this rendered by someone else?
Oh God, no. That was another artist that we worked with from Belgium, who actually does David. He does the artwork for Warhammer. If you can kind of see the style, he does the artwork for like the newest trading cards that are coming out. A lot of the old like the posters and stuff. So he does work for Warhammer. He did a great job.
That's
awesome.
crazy.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So if you go to the webpage, you can check out, they have the incredible bios of each character. I've read all of them and I was like, man, this just goes so deep. It's incredible. And this is what I really appreciate, because first of all, not all these characters, like Wave 2 has not even come out yet, and you're still building the lore as you go around.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed reading about Commander Aldor, basically his story, because the story is about him, correct?
Yeah.
And how he fights for mankind and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, Commander Alder was one of those characters. Like we were working with the aliens up to that point, and we said to ourselves, you know, we want, you know, for lack of a better term, some humanity in the story, in the series. And we thought about how we can bring that type of personality, somebody who is, level-headed, calm, but also like there's something else underlying. And it's, you tie in family, and that's where we got Commander Alder from. And we kind of went back and forth on how we can, make him the focal point of the story without taking away from the other characters. Because that's the thing too. We thought about, like, if we put all this emphasis on the human, we don't want it to detract from the aliens. Because I mean, the aliens are what gets eyes on the product, and that's what gets people, that, ooh, yeah, the aliens are cool. But yeah, Commander Alder's story is one that, it kind of sounds familiar, I guess. If you think about, somebody who, their upbringing was military, that's all they knew. So they were born to have this sort of mentality that eventually they grow up, and, you start to realize, like a lot of us, I guess, it might not be wholly who you are. You start to get away from that. And, now you inject a fight for the human race in the year 3700, and every second that you take a breath is important and means something. And then you just get that tension, that anxiety, and that's kind of what we wanted the story to have. Is you're reading it and you get this anxiety building, like something is happening. And I think that's what kind of will set it apart, is that it's not bam, action right in your face. It's like a crescendo building of tension between everybody. Every single character has tension between them to build up to something. And it starts with Alder.
So this is exactly the passion that I'm talking about in terms of just for your product, for the characters, and that's what draws me into your figures. And it's really nice to see, like, all you really need are just kind of ideas and the will to do this. I mean, it's the way you kind of just drop. Yeah, this is a guy who worked. He's an artist in Belgium. He did a little thing called Warhammer, maybe about. But like these are like things that I would not think of if I were to build my own toy company, right, or my own toy line. All right, so we got, if you're in the chat, if you have some questions for Joe, please type them in. Right now, let's move on to what I like to call burning questions. And these are questions asked by, either not from me, but from other, from No Chewing, from Danny, from Cox Create. His phone is a little overheating right now, so he's trying to dump it in some ice, I think, right now. But while you guys think of your questions, why don't we just go to the chat? Lone Wolf Labs, first of all, Lone Wolf Labs. If you don't know who Lone Wolf Labs is, go check out his IG. There's one of his dios right there. He is incredible. You get amazing dios for a reasonable price that are just amazing. And he's one of the hardest working guys out there. He's awesome. He was at Legion Con. He did a great job. So Lone Wolf, if you're still watching, thanks, buddy.
That's my guy right there.
I'm bummed I missed that exclusive he had for my Horseman up there. I wanted one of those.
I got one coming. Mike Hex, Joe B paying that Boba Fett tax. Any plans to make figures are in the scale of 1/12 but bigger, like a BAF or even bigger?
Yeah, that's funny actually. We that's one of the things we've been working on is, so one of our big characters that people really took to is Zurge, the purple big hulking guy, and I think that's somebody that we're going to get into the line, sooner rather than later. And I think, not a Build-A-Figure, but I think he's going to be his own wave. And there's going to be some reuse with the mold that we're looking at in terms of the story, because, you got soldiers, legionnaires, they're on the smaller side, but, in a big battle, you're going to need some firepower, some big guys. So that's
by your own wave, you mean like different types using that mold?
Exactly, yeah.
Got it.
And so Zurge is going to be the focal point, and we're going to have different characters centered around him, and they're going to be just as big deluxe characters, more accessories, more features. Really excited for those.
Is
So
that
yeah,
for wave
definitely.
2, or is that?
No, this will probably be after wave 2.
Oh my gosh, you have
Yeah,
the planning.
we
My goodness.
yeah we have a lot, a lot of characters.
When is Xeno showing up?
Xeno will probably show up around that same time as
Okay.
as Zurge. We're trying to figure out if we want, the thing we're thinking about is, do we split a wave into two, so like wave 2, wave 2A, wave 2B, or do we just go, all in? So that's the thing that we're trying to kind of work out. So there's a way that we want product steadily streaming out throughout the year. We don't want it to where, it's one wave out the whole year. You pre-order, here's the date, and there's nothing in between. Like now going forward, we want to make sure that there is a steady stream of product coming out. Build the big figures, the deluxe figures, the regular waves. Like, we're working on that.
That's awesome. Was that your question, No Chewing, or is that
No. That was just
follow
on my
up?
mind because that for me, when you looked at all the character bios, that one stood out to me as my favorite. It had like a little bit of like remind me of Tron meets Snake Eyes.
Yes.
So that was the figure that I was like, I want that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good description.
Yeah, definitely.
But if we're jumping to burning questions, the one I think I asked you very briefly off of just seeing it on the IG page, but you had all these cool artist proofs of custom painted 5-point articulation figures. I didn't even ask a follow-up question when I asked you. It's like, oh, what's this? But more in detail, what were those?
So
How did
yeah,
those come to
actually,
be?
yeah, I have. This is the last dread op that I have. James and I both kept the last two. So at the top it says Founders Edition, and what that was during the pandemic. Everything was shut down. We had plans to go to Five Points Fest and a couple other conventions, ToyCon one of them, and we couldn't. And so we were sitting on all of these files, and we had to start 3D printing. So that was the goal. Was we were going to start with the Founders Edition, which was like the initial characters, just getting them all out. But we had to speed up the process because now we have to like make up for all this lost time. So the height of the pandemic, James and myself, we 3D printed Zurge, Dost, Razek, Commander Alder, Xeno, and the Legionnaires, all 3D printed, and then the entire team, our wives, people that we trusted to help us, we all painted, assembled them, primed them, packaged them up, and shipped them out to the tune of, I think it was probably somewhere between 300 and 400 that we went through, somewhere around there. And so that was the Founders Edition. That was like, if you have them, they're not being made anymore. We don't make the 3D prints anymore for those guys. And we went through variations. Like we went through colorways of crystal glass Legionnaires. Like if you look on the website, we have like the sold listings of like all the different variations we had. And that was what kept us going during the pandemic. Was we were just painting, doing the story, packaging, shipping them out, and it was just an assembly line, one after another. Every single week, every single day, I would log off my Zoom with my kids, with my students, with my families, and then I would go right into painting. I'd go right into assembly. I'd be, all of us just slaving away at making what we needed to do to get it done. And then eventually, and people asked about it, and so we scaled them down to 3 3/4. And so we made a small run of 3 3/4 figures of the Founders Edition. And those were also hand painted, assembled. And that was just a way for us to get the characters out to the public, as quickly as possible. But we were able to regulate it because we were the ones printing them. We were the ones painting them. So like the quality control, that was all us. We made sure that every single Razek head looked exactly the same. All of our airbrushes were locked and loaded. Every single DOS looked exactly the same. Commander Alder, his eyes exactly the same. And you can actually scroll back on our Instagram and see, like, we posted a lot of behind the scenes of like the process of it. And so it's cool now to look back and see like, how we did it. But yeah, so that's what that was. That was how it started, just 3D printing.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, it caught my eye just because they look so cool.
Yeah, I mean, and they were 6-inch scale too. So like we had people sending us pictures of these what we thought were like collector, designer, art toys, and people were sending us, photos of them posed next to like G.I. Joe classifieds and like stuff that we didn't think about, when we made them. And that kind of got the wheels turning, and we really it got us excited and kept us motivated to keep going.
That's awesome. Second question, just off of that, anyways. In wave 1, there's an artist proof, a gray model for those in the chat that's not aware of the entire wave, but it's this cool gray model, perfect for customization. When we saw you at ToyCon, someone had said to you that they want to turn that into a Buzz Lightyear. Did that person turn into a Buzz Lightyear? Where is it?
So I would imagine it is still on their workbench. We haven't seen anything from it, but that's the one that that sticks out in my head. That I'm always opening up, our feed, and I'm hoping that comes through. Because I want to see that, definitely. That was one that I didn't think about. That even I was like, ooh, yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm waiting. That would be an amazing color combo just to see.
Definitely, me too.
Commander Lightyear.
Commander Lightyear. Ooh.
No
You
chewing.
can spell
still...
it differently too. L-I-T-E year.
Yeah.
Yeah, L-I-T-E, light.
No chewing still kicks himself for not getting the artist proof.
I still might. I just, it's just one of those things because I have never customized the figure before. But it was tempting. It's like,
Yeah.
try.
I still can't get over how the four of you pretty much hand painted 300 figures. And so pretty much you can say those founder editions?
Founders edition, yeah.
They're all hand painted.
No, they were like 100%. Every part of it was hand painted. The weapons hand painted. So like the accents, the plasma chambers in each shotgun barrel painted. Dry brush them with weathering. All that good stuff. But that was the thing that really, if we're going to do this, we got to make sure that every single one is as perfect as can be. There can't be any differences between a lot of them. So yeah, there's even a shot right there of the Founders Edition figures versus their articulated versions, and that's kind of we wanted to really control that narrative.
Got it. Yeah, I cannot wait for these aliens. I really can't.
Neither can we.
Look at this one. This
Are the aliens not out yet?
So
No.
we're planning them to start the pre-orders early next year, right after New Year's.
Oh, nice.
That's the goal.
Are you guys doing Kickstarters for each wave, or?
So that's what we were trying to figure out. We're not at this point. We're not doing Kickstarter. Going forward, we're going to try and avoid that because going back to what I said before, we want to have a steady stream of product coming out throughout the year.
Right.
And the thing about Kickstarter is it's a great tool, like, and that's what got us, funded and got these Wave 1 figures out. But at the same time, there was just so much time that elapsed in between when it was funded to when they started, when they came in stock. And that's part of, the pandemic, shipping fiasco and, all of that headache stuff. But, the thing about Kickstarter is it's all or nothing. And so if we put out each wave as all or nothing and it gets funded, then there's only so much made for that wave. And we can't really, there's not a lot of wiggle room to go forward with, the other characters in between. So the plan right now is to open pre-orders for the subsequent waves and kind of go that route, keep them open, get them out.
Made to order, kind of.
Yeah. Similar to what Hasbro and Mattel do. You get a pre-order date. That's that's when you can log on. You can pre-order it. This is the tentative shipping date, and pre-orders stay open for as long as they want. And the other reason behind that too is with things starting to ease up, with the shipping and the boat situation, product is starting to arrive sooner. So we're kind of trying to keep it close together to where, if we have wave 2 open and we have this shipping date, if things go according to plan and it gets a little bit better, that date could be sooner and we can have wave 3 open up around that time. So it just keeps that cycle going. So that's kind of the plan.
To kind of piggyback on what Josh was asking, how did you get the first one funded? Was that just out of pocket or?
No, so I mean, it was crowdfunded, and it was actually we tried. Yeah, we had one go at it October 2020, and it wasn't successful. And we went back to the drawing board, and we asked the fans, like, what would you fix? What would you edit? What would you change about the figures? And we got honest answers. Like we got some that were like, these are awesome. Try again next time. You guys got this. But like the feedback we were looking for was what could change. And some of it was the sculpt, some of it was articulation, some of it was more army builders. And so that's kind of, we went back to the drawing board, and it got funded January 2021. So we didn't wait long after.
So did you just go out and email people, or were people actually looking at the figures? Or
yeah, we had a Kickstarter page that was like a campaign that had, this is wave 1, these are all the characters, and this is the initial funding. So I think the initial funding was like around 35,000. And that there's like a transparency to it. So like people could scroll down and see like what percentage of that went to the molds, what percentage went to production, what went to boat fees and everything. So like that's kind of one of our company mottos too, is like transparency is golden. And so we made sure people knew, like, you pay for one figure, this is where that one figure is going and what it is helping to achieve it. And so we put the funding goal out there, 35,000. These are the characters. If the funding goal gets met, then we go into stretch goals and we unlock more characters, more accessories. So that's how it got funded initially for Wave 1.
Got it. Oh wow.
Is this if you go on to the Kickstarter page, there's this cool image of all the parts in the figure, like kind of like broken out into like a schematic.
Oh yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, and that was the old one too, actually. That was the one that we got feedback on, that people were like, they had a couple call outs here and there, and we took that. I physically remember being here and writing down like those notes on like the exploded character articulation page. And then James, would relay that back to the factory, and we worked with them, because it had to be done right.
Danny, do you have any questions? A burning question?
First off, congratulations on your, I mean, it's success. I mean, look what you guys were able to do together. And like, and I love to hear that, you know, you guys have your significant others supporting you guys in this process where everybody was basically working together to get this out and get this idea out. Because again, it amazes me how, you know, we always talk about that one idea, you know what I'm saying? So, and just that you guys just thought about it and now you're actually living it, you're seeing it come, you know, being put together and it's being sold. That's amazing. So,
Thank you.
I saw one of these figures I went to Legion Con. It was my first Legion Con. And I saw one of these figures and I was trying to put two and two together because I'm one of the people unfortunately that was walking around Toy Con, and I know Toy Father and No Truant were at the table. I stopped there for a minute and looked at the figures and I were like, they were pretty cool. So at time there were times where I walked by and I was like, man, those look like Halo figures. Like that's what they reminded me of. Halo.
Yeah.
So I want to say a question for me would be like, if given the opportunity, would you make, like, I know you guys have the one that kind of looks like Boba Fett, right? Would you guys potentially, you know, if you were given the opportunity to, would there be like an
A
opportunity
Mike
to do
Myers
like,
one? Is that what you're gonna ask?
yeah, I wish. I'll fund the whole Kickstarter for you if you do that for me.
Jamie Lee Curtis, definitely,
I
definitely
will
Jamie Lee
fund the whole-
Curtis.
Well, that's actually my second question. Like, I was looking through some of the figures. Would you guys eventually incorporate more female figures into your line? Because that's
Yeah.
something that I saw that would be great too. Because that attracts more. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean,
Yeah, no, it's funny. You know, that's a great question that we actually get a lot too. And we got that probably around like 2020, people asking like, you know, are there any female characters coming? And we had at that point, you know, one particular that we're working on, and it's a Nico, and she's a bounty hunter. And there are pictures of her on our Instagram, and she has this really cool double-bladed axe.
Nice.
That pegs, you know, onto her back and through her thighs. But in terms of the story, she is a big part going forward. So with her, we're also trying to, you know, incorporate her as soon as possible, because with her, we have, you know, accompanied other female bounty hunters, you know, that are part of this guild, this, you know, bounty hunter group that, you know, break off. And there's just a lot. Yeah. And she is one that when we debuted her, I think it was ToyCon 2021, that was like, you know, people exploded and were asking questions about her, a million questions about her. But we definitely have a lot of plans for female characters that play a big part too, not just like in terms of getting toys out. Like we have characters that play a big part in the story too.
Well, I love the dedication to Chadwick Boseman. That's really neat in terms of the
name. Because you know, creating her kind of came up around that time, and Chadwick Boseman, you know, that movie Black Panther had such a big influence on my art around the time it came out. You know, I had the soundtrack on vinyl, you know, on CD. I listened to it while I was sketching, while I was, you know, drawing and grinding. And a lot of times, you know, drawing Razak and, you know, the other characters, my headphones, I had Black Panther, you know, playing. And so, you know, that was kind of our little tribute that we could do for him, to him.
That's awesome. Now, I want to say my original question was, as far as the tributes is concerned, like, what would be something that would be more of a dream thing for you to do? Like, if you had to do a tribute thing to any, like, I know you love Star Wars, but like, besides Star Wars, if there's, and besides Halo, because I probably just said Halo, if there's something, what would be something that you would want to do as a tribute, like a special edition Star Dusk figure, and it's tribute, like the tribute, it's whatever. What would it be?
I mean, right off the bat, the first thing that I can think of, because I've thought about doing it just as a custom, I would love to do a, you know, similar to how we did the Bounty Hunter, you know, exclusive. I would love to do a Ultimate Warrior Bounty, because I'm a big wrestling guy.
Wow.
So I have, you know, Brian Myers, Matt Cardona. I met them.
Yeah.
You know, I listen to the podcast. I watch AEW, WWE, you know, NWA. And I think a lot of the big toyetic things that pop out in my mind when I think about an action figure, it stems from Star Wars and it stems from Hasbro WWF.
Nice.
And those are the two that I just grew up loving so much.
Mhm.
And a Warrior, like Warrior paint, that's so nostalgic.
That
like
was- yeah.
you
Had the
show
little
that
thing.
to yeah, some fringes coming off,
Yeah.
a weapon that, has like the face paint on the barrel,
Yeah.
like I would do so much with that because that's just
That's awesome.
like he's a dude that marketed a basic look but made it so awesome.
Yeah.
The
I
colors, everything. So I think that would probably, given the opportunity, I would love to do a Warrior Legionnaire or something like that.
All right. Well, I
That
got
would be
first
dope.
pre-order. I got first pre-order. If you ever get that.
Yeah, I think that,
I got second. Chris can have
Yeah.
third.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, it is.
That
It's different, dude.
people would
Yeah.
love that.
yeah,
that's
I-
cool.
yeah,
Solid.
I thought you were gonna say RoboCop or something. I was gonna be like, all right, look,
RoboCop is solid too.
RoboCop.
Oh, these are all good
RoboCop,
ideas.
yeah. I mean,
Josh
not
would probably
knocking
love
RoboCop.
Silver?
No, I'm
Josh
saying,
loves
but it's like
RoboCop.
you like threw a
Yeah,
curveball.
yeah,
there, 'cause I said-
Danny, you keep RoboCop's name out your mouth.
Well, I was actually trying to like push that in there to give him the idea. So if he does it, there you go. Then you have a RoboCop.
Yeah.
Figure. But he said
No,
Ultimate Warrior. He blew me away.
Yeah,
What about,
I'm
like-
a big.
Like robot characters, is that like something like
Yeah,
Cyborg or something?
yeah. So actually, Zeno, the one that who's the last Cobalt Squad member that the one with the blue on, glowing on his chest. He's actually an android. Well,
Oh,
not
okay.
not exactly. And like, there's elements of the story like he's it's a hollow suit essentially.
Oh.
And Zeno is the entity that is using the suit.
Oh, that's
And
the one I
so-
want too. That's the one
Yeah.
I was looking at.
So that
Oh, yeah. That's
him
a
we're trying to
dope
push
design.
out, for the next wave, 2 waves too. But we have a lot of, Android ideas that are coming in for, the villain characters, Volta Enterprises, a lot of Sentinel type droids that
Yeah.
are in the pipeline, but we wanted it to be like, you mentioned about, RoboCop. A lot of the elements of like RoboCop went into it when we were drawing it, specifically the battle damage scenes. Because I remember growing up as a
way.
kid, those were
Yeah.
always my favorite variation toys to get were battle damage, where you
Yeah.
could like take the figure part off and see like
Yeah.
even like I remember having a Playmates data from Star Trek and New Generation, and it had like the opening panel on the forearms. It was the simplest feature to include, but it was so amazing to see like the wires and the inner workings. C-3PO, the mid, the torso. So, the androids that we have in the pipelines are going to be modeled around that. A lot of exposed metal, a lot of, flesh-looking parts, bone. They're going to be pretty gnarly, but cool.
Now that
We
you
got a
say
lot.
that, I was just thinking, like, wouldn't it be nice to have like a Tron inspired line, like with Tron, just do the neon lights and all that? That would be dope.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm giving all these ideas.
Yeah.
And then you have to find like a
Yeah.
alternative Daft Punk to do like the commercial for you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, or dead mouse, get some ears on it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that'd be
That's
dope.
awesome.
RC Camper says, "Do you think there'll be a TV series or movie? Would that be a dream?"
Yeah, definitely a dream. Definitely, something that we're always how to say it, that we're working towards. Essentially, we work with a lot of artists. Like I said, some of them we've shown their work, some we haven't shown yet. So there's definitely a lot that we're working on. But yeah, definitely a TV series would be awesome, or animation, like something like that.
Yeah. Do you picture these being on shelves anywhere, like the big box?
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess they mean like Target and Walmart. Those big ones. Yeah, I mean, right now we work with about 10 or 11 official retailers and brick and mortar partners. But that's definitely a goal of mine, and James, that we want to see it in those big stores. But in order to do that, we need to start smaller and get it out to more places as possible. Somebody in California can buy the figures on our website, but like I said at the beginning of the show, I come from sales, so my goal is to get it into a brick and mortar in California, which we've done, and get it to a brick and mortar in West Virginia, which we've done, get it to a brick and mortar in Louisiana, which we've done. And that's one of the things is like people I feel are more inclined to make a purchase at their local toy shop versus online. All the marketing that we do comes from word of mouth and people spreading the word and hashtagging and sharing the figures and what they got. But that's something that we work towards, is getting it into the big places too, for the future waves, for sure.
Midnight Stars Custom. He's an amazing customizer. He asked, "What type of paint or sealer did you use? And sealer did you use?"
Oh, James and I, we only use Citadel. At a pinch, I have used Vallejos. Not knocking them, but Citadels are the ones that, James, coming from Warhammer, he's the one that got me into Citadels, and once I started using them, I never looked back. They just, and especially on our artist proof figures, like that's what I was telling a lot of people at ToyCon was, they took paint, like in most areas it was one layer. It wasn't, only a couple places I had to do like multiple layers. But Citadels are, perfect for the customizing. And sealer, Citadel, usually they make a matte sealer. But sealer, that's something that we kind of just, whatever we have lying around, But definitely Citadel paints. That's what we use for sure.
Great question, Citadel. All
yeah.
Right. Machu Toys is in the house. How's it going, buddy? Tenio Toys, how you doing? There's a huge gap for characters like Super Battle Droids and Droidicas in Black Series scale.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the androids thing, I definitely think, I mean, there are a lot of big companies now that do, adjacent scale lines with like NECA has the market cornered for like RoboCop and Terminator, and I also think that that's one of the things too that Black Series has kind of missed out on is, all those awesome super battle droids and, those types of robot characters that are kind of missing from shelves. So definitely would like to fill the gaps, for sure, with the Star Dusk line with those androids.
Are you guys planning on doing variants of like some of the characters, like maybe like different designs of each character? Like,
yeah, definitely. One of the things for Wave 2, subsequent waves, Wave 3, is it's going to be in conjunction with the comic series that will be coming out.
okay.
And one of the things you find with the villain, Volta, is they have they have this sort of looking downwards on like other life forms that are not human, not Terran. But that's not to say they don't employ their services for certain tasks. So you're going to see a lot of variants of aliens in soldier roles, in commander roles, in different color styles. That you have different squads. Similar to like the battalions for the clones. That's kind of what we're going to do for the next couple waves.
Okay. Now I have one more question. The comic, right? Is there a potential to have like a exclusive pack with figures including comic?
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Maybe have
I
like
think
a first issue and then have maybe like a 2-pack or something, or just one figure.
you say that, and my mind immediately goes back to the Dark Horse 2-packs
Yeah,
for the 3 3/4 Star Wars. Yeah,
Mhm.
that would be awesome. I'd love to do something like that.
I'm
Way to
thinking like
go.
a customer, like.
For sure.
Well, Joe, you've really shown us that in order to make a toy from paper to final product, you need to be some sort of Renaissance man. You have to have talents in everything, right? Whether it's talking to people, sales, writing, um, drawing, even just painting. And then not only that, have a deep well knowledge of your characters.
I had a question.
You've really shown us this tonight. Sorry, Josh, what were you saying?
I was going to ask him, what would your advice be for anybody that was thinking about starting to make their own action figures?
I mean, if I was giving the advice, what I would say is, do your research, and pour yourself into what it is you want that final product to be, like visualize it. Because for me, James, like I said, he came from the toy industry, so he had that product development knowledge that I just couldn't grasp. I had no conceptualized knowledge or any idea of how the product cycle works, and how you get it from A to B. So I watched YouTube tutorials. I watched factory, walkthrough videos. I listened to a lot of podcasts, like the Toy Coach. Michelle Wade is a big one. She actually James worked with her at Toys R Us. And, those types of podcasts, you just get so much knowledge, and it's free. It's free knowledge that you can take and write down and pour into stuff that you're not, 100% on. So I would say definitely, do your research, listen to as much, advice and, stuff as you can. And James would probably say the same thing, and, look to where there's a gap in the market and see how you can fill it. What can you bring to the table that's different? Because, in terms of toys, you can't really reinvent the wheel. Everything's been done, to a certain extent. It's how you pimp out that wheel and make it look awesome and make it look, something that somebody wants to take and roll with and go with. And, that's what I would say, definitely.
Well, that's definitely great advice. Wow. So if you don't know Foxforge Toys, go follow them on Instagram. Go to foxforgetoys.com to check out some of their product. Will some of that stuff be in stock? I see that what was it? The Bounty Hunter and the Reaper, the limited edition Reaper, sold out, but you can still get Commander Older, the Dread Ops Legionnaire, Dread Ops.
Yes.
Commander Older, and you can get the Reaper Division Legionnaire, which is the red one. I will say this was a cool, I did like this. One last thing before we talk about this is that you can see right in here, I don't know if you can see it right here, it's the sculpt of his hair that you just fit right in there, and make sure you don't get any paint scratches when you pull it off.
Nice.
Yeah. It's funny about that. So we met Steve Evans at ToyCon, who we've met a couple times. He's one of the lead production guys for Hasbro for the Marvel and Transformers team. Mr. Steve, he's a super awesome guy. Can't say enough great things about him. And he gave us feedback actually for the initial prototypes that we showed him, that we ended up adding to them. But one of the things the last ToyCon was he did the same thing. He looked at the helmet and he asked about the hair. It was like, oh, so that's cool. Did you guys think about that? And we actually, the factory that we work with is so great. They had that idea to put it in, and I I think that gave him some inspiration. So I don't know. You might see some Marvel Legends with that hair imprint on it. But I thought that was really funny. I thought that he
That's
was
awesome.
he was joking about it, like we might have to take that. I was like, please do. That would be rad to see that being done at Marvel Legends. That's like a compliment.
Did you give
But
him
yeah,
your routing and
that's
account number?
what was that?
Did you give him your routing and account number for when
Yeah, right.
I gave him the free of charge for all the knowledge he gave us, but he also took a lot of our money over the years. So I mean, it kind of like balanced out. But yeah, no, it was cool.
So I'm gonna send you my routing and account number if I see a Tron 2-pack.
Yeah.
So I really liked the advice that you gave to everyone in terms of you need to put the work in, you need to make yourself understand the process, and it's so easy to do it because you can jump onto YouTube and really look it up, and all of it is free. Most of it is really just putting in the time, right?
Yeah,
So
there's
in
no
order-
excuse not to.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you can do it. It's just how much work do you want to put into it?
That's awesome.
So one thing before we go, I just want to, we all, with every guest, we have a rapid fire question section. We call it rapid fire. You have like 10 seconds to answer each question. And we answer 4 questions. Okay.
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Some of these are pretty easy. Favorite toy line?
Star Wars.
Favorite toy?
Hulk Hogan, WWF Hasbro.
Oh, wow. Nice. I thought it would have been a Black Series. Saltwater or freshwater?
Saltwater. I like to float. I'm a big guy. I like to float.
Superpower.
Oh, flight.
Flight. All right.
Flight.
You like to fly. All right.
I like to fly. I'd like to look down on everybody and kind of swoop down if I need to, but mostly stay away from everybody.
Like buy my toys. All you guys, buy my toys.
I just have a sack like Santa. I'm just raining down Star Dusk characters to people all across the world.
As it's knocking everybody out.
So again, Joe, thanks so much for joining us on Toy Talk. We had so much fun. Honestly, going through your ideas, the process, it was really interesting to see how does this go from just 2 guys hanging out, who love toys, who found a love for toys in college, who went to Toys R Us, now I would define this as a very successful toy line in terms of like getting those ideas out. And the fact that you have 11, did you say 11 brick and mortar stores that sell your product? I don't know.
10 or 11, retailers that we work with.
And they're not just like, all in the same state. You're talking across the country. So you clearly
international too.
International too? Where's...
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
We have in Australia, we have an exclusive shop, AFI, Action Figure Industries, that we work with.
Nice.
We have, in Canada, E-Collectibles that we work with. We have in China, 5K Toys that we work with. So it's spread out.
Midnight's in Canada, so there you go, Midnight. If you're still in
Midnight,
the chat,
go ahead.
go
Check it out.
Star Dusk Toys.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh. So what I really enjoy is that your moves are very methodical. They're very intentional and they're very thoughtful. And I don't understand how you can hold all these pieces together and have a day job.
It's daunting, but it's fun. It's fun.
Well, again, I can't thank you enough. Is there anything that you want to plug that you haven't plugged or we haven't plugged yet?
Yeah, I mean, thank you guys for having me. And I guess we have Wave 2, like I said, coming out. We're working on the final details, but we have all the characters done.
Oh, hold on. Let me go to single cam.
You can see them. We posted them on the website. So we have the OG aliens coming out. We have the new army builder, the UTDF.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Take the
this will
helmet.
have a nice, translucent gloss onto the visor.
nice.
We're also going to have the new artist proof, which will be the UTDF.
Oh gosh.
And so
Ooh,
you're seeing
tempting
some of the new weapons that that he's going to have. One of the things is a backpack that has a port on both sides for maxing out your arsenal for each guy. And then the final guy, for wave 2 that we're going to have is the Insurgent Legionnaire. So it's going to be different colors, similar to Alder, because he's going to be working alongside him.
Oh my gosh.
So we got a lot of.
You're saying a year from now.
No, not a year from now. Early next year. So like January, February time is when we're looking to open pre-orders.
Heck
Nice.
yes.
Nice.
And then that's going to keep the start the ball, start wave 2, and start immediately working on wave 3, getting that out. One of the other things we're doing too with the next couple waves is we're thinking about functionality with other weapons that we haven't done yet. So one of the things we worked with our designer on is a knife with a sheath with a port that also will be able to plug in on various points throughout the body, all the backpacks that come along in the next couple waves. So they're going to be different, long swords, some laser, technology that we're going to be putting in. So there's a lot that's coming. We're excited to show everybody.
That's awesome. Oh, the aliens really want the. Oh man, I want all of those actually.
And the helmets too. They have their own helmets this go around too.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
really
awesome.
cool.
Yeah. So each alien that comes out is getting its own separate helmet that goes along with it.
It's so awesome.
Are they durable for some collectors that break their figures?
Hey, I've not broken any of my figures yet, and
I mean these have been kid tested, by my godson, by my nephews, by myself many times. James and I would get in samples from the factory, and I'm notorious for breaking our product because James is like very delicate and he's posing it, and I'm like, I want to see if it will withstand action. So I'm dropping it, and so yeah, they're definitely durable. We made sure of that with the factory.
These are Toy Father approved in terms of durability. So
we actually had the factory go back and retool, the wrists and certain parts, and they had to actually go back and use a brand new material they hadn't used before for this part. Because we did so many rounds of edits that finally they were like, all right, we have to just make something.
We have to make they made vibrating.
They made they add combine different things to make a super durable material for different parts of it. So yeah, they're definitely they're good.
That's also a cool thing. That just jogged my memory from when we met at ToyCon. Just the extra level of QC and feedback that you absorbed before these figures actually made it to the consumer, that you're making those last minute changes.
Yes.
It's nice to see.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, one last question, if you don't mind, please.
Go ahead.
If coming from someone that does not only collects one line of figures, one genre. I only collect
not even genre, I would say one figure, but yeah.
One figure. Which figure from the ones that are available would you recommend me? I mean, I only collect NECA horror figures at the moment. So which figure from the ones that are available would you recommend me? For me,
I recommend?
Which would you recommend?
For wave one?
Whatever's available now. Let's say I just came to you and this is all new to me, right? And this is the kind of line I like, and maybe I want to get into something new and check it out. Which one would you say?
In terms of ours, I would probably say if you can get your hands on the ToyCon exclusive, I would probably go with that because that's the bounty hunter inspired. Yeah. The Bob
Okay.
A. Feet. That
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is he available?
He's I think he's still available. Big Bad. They should be receiving their inventory this week.
Okay.
But it's also available only through Ninth Archer Innovations that we work with,
Okay.
and I believe Chubsy Wubsy also has them.
Okay.
But very
Oh,
limited.
I was just
very
on
limited.
Chubsy's. He has one. Yeah.
Yeah, very
Support
very
Chubs.
limited.
Thank
But
you. I
we
appreciate
we have some things planned for a sale around the holidays. To where we may or may not have a few others up for grabs on our website.
Mm.
So, but yeah, that would be the one that I say for sure, because that's, I mean, kind of speaks for itself.
And
Just
I'm very partial to the black matte Dread Ops one.
yeah,
Yeah.
I do. I like this one a
Nice.
lot.
That's
one's
the one I
really
was
nice.
eyeing the whole time. Like I
This
was.
one,
And the
Yeah.
head
this one's
pop
really
off the
nice.
helmet has a Sub-Zero kind of face.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
and
one's
that
cool.
one, yeah, the other bodies have like actually a metallic that's inlaid into the paint itself from the factory. But then the Dread Ops, there's a specific reason why his character uses the matte, and we had to translate that to the figure.
Do you happen to know where in Canada the store is?
So eCollectibles is to my knowledge, they're an online retailer.
Okay,
But they ship from Canada.
got it.
So it's kind
So you
of
don't-
a mix. Yeah, we have
So
a
you don't
mix
have
of. Yeah, you can just order through their website.
Yeah, you don't have to pay the international shipping. That's okay.
Yes.
And Mike Hex wishes that he had teleportation. So does 10-year toys. Yimbo says, "Great show, and thanks for all the info, Joe. All the best. We'll keep grinding on your
Oh,
behalf."
thank you.
Did you resin print or PLA print for 3D?
It was resin print. We started PLA for like basic 300 mock-ups, 300% to see like the sculpt, and then the other Founders Edition were resin print, but like the lowest layer. So it took like 8 hours to do parts.
D Blake says he thinks Legion Shop has them.
Oh, they might
Is
have
that
some too. Yeah, they might have some too.
So check them out, Danny, if you want to.
Yeah, I'm gonna go online now and check out some stuff.
All right. Well, hey, Joe, thanks a lot. Is there anything else you wanted
Thank you.
to plug? We really appreciate it, and honestly, you really taught us a lot. If anything,
Yeah,
if
of
you
course.
want something to happen, you got to put in the work to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So all of you out there, don't be complaining because you're not getting the likes you want because of the algorithm. Just keep grinding and you'll get it.
There you go. Good job. Man.
Inspirational.
Words from a wise
Yeah.
man.
Hey, next week we got an awesome guest. He's actually in the chat right now. We got D Blake Makes coming on to our show,
Awesome.
talking about his signs, because his signs are the best in the biz. So we'll check him out.
I have a couple.
Yeah, I mean, they're amazing, and I know he crushed it during Legion Con. So can't wait to hear it. D Blake says meeting Joe at ToyCon was awesome. Great figures from great guys. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so thanks a lot, and thanks a lot to everyone in the chat. This was an
Yeah.
awesome chat. It was one of the best probably active chats that we had, and we had some great questions for everyone from Joe. And
Sure.
honestly, Joe, thanks for being just a great guest. Really.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. This has been awesome. Talk toys.
I mean, yeah, that's the best thing about Toy Talk. We talk about toys, and why do they bring us together? Because we have a huge community of toy collectors, toy photographers, toy makers that all just love toys, and that's why we're here together. And it brings us like all walks of life together, really. And that's what we love. So everyone, thanks for joining us. If you haven't clicked subscribe, please do. Check out Fox Forge Toys. Go onto their website, buy their products. And Wave 2 comes out early in January, coming soon, 2023. That's only a few months away. We're excited. So, all right, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining us. Joe, you can stick around for 1 sec. Thanks a lot for joining us, and we'll see you next week with D. Blake Makes on another episode of Toy Talk.
Thanks.